this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, minibus drivers aggrieved by loading restrictions. Okahanya municipality has days to respond to land demand. Namibia-Venezuela Association condemns international media coverage on Cuban protest. National Federation of People with Disability in Namibia aided with a digital services facility. And Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. Minibus operators that transport workers from the informal settlements to the central business district of the capital and suburbs are aggrieved by the regulations that only allow the loading capacity of 7 passengers. They say they would prefer having 10 passengers per trip as the fuel price has increased and they are left with no income. Andrina Cagnolo has this report.
Minibus drivers in Windhoek stopped operating due to the fact that they are not allowed to have 10 passengers. The drivers say this is unfair as municipal buses continue to load at full capacity, with some overloading. They say if this is not changed by the authorities, then they too will cease operations until their demands are met, which would likely affect regular commuters. Many workers were left with no transport to work, and they had this to say about the situation.
As we are standing here, these buses here, these combis what we are calling, are the ones who are helping us every morning to go to our work and come back. For the municipality buses, they are just few bus stops, and then those people, they don't even go in to go get the people at the bus stops. They are driving the way they want. But my point now is, why is the government against these cars only? But they don't help them even out with sanitizers of, what is it, or mask. Nothing for free. But you are just there to give them tickets. Here are we standing. We're supposed to be at work. With what can we go? With what? There is no solution. To just give a t-shirt, ticket to these people won't solve anything. Allow them to do as they are asking. 10 people and then we can pay $10. The municipality bus is $8, but they don't come.
This combi which help us to take us to work, they are straight now. But the big buses from municipality, they're just killing people full of amount. So we don't understand it now. Maybe in the municipality buses, There is no cloner.
The government is here. They are not supporting us. They are not giving us anything. They are just quiet. They don't even understand our problems. Or they say it's only COVID-19. But hunger can also kill people. It's not only COVID that can kill people. Hunger can also kill people. It's where from our weight. It's where we are getting our bread. It's where we are even getting the transport to give those mini buses.
Pendapala Nakathingo, the president of the Buses and Taxis Association, said that they would like to speak to the relevant authorities to find an amicable solution.
The problem that we are having here today, I do not want to see that problem happening again in the entire country during the COVID-19 situation. Are we together? Yes. So now, there is now one thing that we are going to say. I'm speaking here as the Secretary General of Namibia Bus and Taxi Association, NAPTA. Yes. And my responsibility is for administration and to enforce regulations in terms of our constitution. Do you understand? Yes. And our constitution is working together and following the laws of this country. We are not operating on a vacuum. We are operating in accordance with the law. So please, as from today now here, we are going to take this to the authorities. We are going to inform them about this situation. So now, we have said, according to what we have observed, which need to be confirmed to any other officers, traffic, NAMPO traffic, and the municipal traffic, the city police. So we are going to confirm with them that are we confirming or are we in agreement to have wherever there is the seat with 4 passengers, there will be 3. Wherever there is 3 seats for passengers, there will be 2. Yes. Wherever there is 2 seats of passengers, there will be 1. Yes. Is that what we are saying? Yes. So now, it will be applicable. There we go. It will be applicable to the quantum buses, to the Iveco buses, and to the big buses like those for municipalities. Yes, yeah. I was very much disturbed today. I was very much disturbed today by the way the municipal buses loading passengers. Yes. In the morning I came here today, and they load the passengers full. Yes. Yeah. It is very unfair. Yeah. It is very unfair for the municipal buses loading the passengers full to the capacity. So some are standing, some are sitting together. Yes. In terms of COVID-19 regulations, we are strongly requested to apply social distancing. Please, I want social distancing here even. Please, I want social distancing.
Discussions is over. Yeah. I told you I'm the station commander and I'm going to follow the COVID regulations. You understand? It says only public gathering 10 people. Now come to yourself, how many are you here? How many are you?
More than 100.
More than 100. So the instruction now is simple and clear and sweet. Just disperse right now. You understand? Disperse right now. Go back to your respective places where you are coming from. Thank you.
Get into character with Ackermans. Action-packed days require the right uniform. Like girls' character tees, 2 for only 80, you save 19.90. Or boys' character tees, 2 for only 80, you save 19.90. Now in sizes up to ages 10. Get your character on. Only at Ackermans.
A small number of representatives from the Samstan community in Okahanya demonstrated against the town's municipality's alleged slow response to land delivery. The Okahanya Town Council, on the other hand, says they are aware of the high demand for land and are more than willing to make it available as quickly as possible. However, numerous factors should be considered first before they could fulfill the protesters' land needs. Okahanya's land disputes date back many years, and the town's municipality is constantly being called out by aggrieved residents, and council members keep getting replaced. But even that doesn't seem to be solving burning issues. Active members from the Samstan area have called out the recently appointed council for their alleged slow response to the land demands.
There are people who already get land, who are supposed to start paying their land. Now the officials of the municipality stop them to pay the land. There are people who apply whose forms are in the municipality, and those people is supposed to pay $20 at the municipality, not at the community committee. But the officials of the municipality officials, councillors are stopping them to come pay the $20. On that note, they're delaying the process. The officials of the municipality are not servicing the area who is already surveyed by the consultants. They are relaxing in the municipality, do nothing. Even the councillors, they give empty promises and nothing happened in Okahanya. The minister gives certificates who were supposed to give on 28 May to the mayor so that he can give certificates like allocation improvement of ownership to the community. He postponed that certificates to give to the community. Now we are here today to say that they're delaying the process of land delivering in Okahanya, and we are almost in the half year.
The newly appointed town council says they are aware of the issues the residents face and are more than willing to solve those problems. However, there's a backlog of work that needs to be cleared first before they can begin fulfilling demands.
We inherited court cases. We inherited a concept where some of these cases came from 2012. You know, situations that wasn't answered historically, and this is what we inherited: chaos. And all of this chaos we actually inherited in the midst of COVID. And so far we took these issues one by one, and we didn't walk away from them. We didn't say it was historical. We didn't say it wasn't our problem. We addressed these issues one by one, and we are currently still doing it. And yes, there is the issue of land. This council has decided already a few meetings ago that we will do anything legally possible to fast track giving land or making land available to people. But the process came to a dead end for many years. So normally you would have the various areas of land being made available or at various stages of the process. We literally had to start from scratch. And it's a long process to get land surveyed and opened, registered, and we are busy in that process. Also, we also have the responsibility that in doing so or going through that process, we need to make sure that it's a balanced process, because you need economy. You need to maintain economy to give people land and services.
Some of the protesters are still not satisfied with the response from the town council.
We don't have a problem that they're making our town beautiful and whatever, but if you go to the location, my friend, you will be surprised to see how people are living there. They are dumping dump things, they're putting all along the sites, and you can see the sewage water is running, and a lot of things are not being covered in our town. So that's the main issue. If you go, children are playing all over around, and what more if they eat something which is not good, what will they will get sick, and that's all what we want. They must at least look into those matters also, so that everyone can be satisfied what they do in our town. Everyone is satisfied with the roads and the portals that they're closing in the town, and whatever they're taking care. We don't have any problem, but the main problem is the land issue must also be targeted. It's what we also want.
The Samstan residents read out the petition to the mayor of Okahanya, Natasha Brunkman, and her council representatives. They have a few days to come up with positive feedback. This is despite the call from the town's municipality to meet the disgruntled community members and formulate a desirable outcome.
We've worked hard to get you low prices on great products every day. Like 5 Roses tagless tea bags for only $41.99 and Huggies Dry Comfort Nappies Jumbo Pack for just $174.99. It's low prices for you every day at Spar.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
The Namibia-Venezuela Association has issued a statement calling on Namibia to support the lifting of the blockade against Cuba, saying that the current medicine and power shortages in the country can be attributed to the U.S.-imposed sanctions. The statement was issued following the recent media coverage of the widespread protests in Cuba. Joseph Ilonga has this report.
The mainstream media coverage of the recent widespread protests in Cuba has received criticism from the Namibia-Venezuela Association, who alleged that some media houses presented the protests as uprisings against the government of Cuba, and parallels were even drawn to the protests in Eswatini against the elite corruption and royal dictatorship. Today on One spoke to Herbert Jauch, a representative of the Namibia-Venezuela Association, to discuss more about the recent protests in Cuba.
The mainstream media portrayed the protest action that saw thousands of people in the streets across Cuba, particularly also in the capital Havana. And these protests were predominantly aimed at raising the issue of electricity supply as people experience blackouts and shortage of medicines. That is especially crucial in the coronavirus pandemic. Now we need to put those developments in context to understand what has really been happening there, and that is that Cuba has endured almost 60 years of blockades and severe sanctions that prevented the country from accessing many of the essential materials needed for building, for infrastructure, for power generation, and even food items. So Cuba had to rely to a very large extent on itself. And now what has happened is that just like many other countries in the world, the pandemic has of course also hit the island, and Cuba converted, for example, some of the hotels into hospitals. For that they needed additional power supply. But because of the particular sanctions and the viciousness of the sanction, Cuba was prevented from importing essential parts, technology, and even fuel for that it needed for its own economic development and social services. So the crisis in Cuba was not due to maladministration on the side of government. It was a direct result of the sanctions that were imposed with the aim to effect regime change. Now, that's not a democratic change. That's not a change of people wanting to replace one government with another. It's an imperial agenda. And the Cuban people and their livelihoods are merely used as a pawn within that system.
Jauch further called on the Namibian government to support the lifting of the blockade against Cuba, to let the people and government of Cuba find solutions to their own problems without being coerced by external interventions.
Many of the global media corporations have not placed that context in front of their news to understand what is happening and why Cuba is facing these hardships. And it's against this background that the Venezuela-Namibia Association has felt it necessary to issue a statement and to put that out, that despite all our own problems, despite the many challenges we face ourselves now in Namibia, we must not forget that Cuba is a country that needs support, and the biggest support that we can give is to put an end to these unfair and unjustified sanctions.
According to the United Nations, for the 29th year in a row, 184 countries voted in favor of a resolution demanding the end of the United States economic blockade of Cuba, with the United States and Israel voting against.
As part of its corporate social responsibility, a new entry in the fishing sector, Khalifi Fishing, this week equipped the National Federation of People with Disabilities in Namibia a digital services facility valued at 100,000 Namibia dollars, which will serve as an income-generating activity for the federation. Salma Tapopi has more.
The donation covered the purchase of computers, a printer, office fittings, furniture, technical support, miscellaneous equipment, and funds to assist with the startup phase. Income generated from the facility will allow the NFPDN to strengthen its advocacy for people living with disability, to deepen equality.
At Khalifi, we appreciate that the resource belongs to all of us. So in one way or the other, all Namibians should benefit from the proceeds of fishing. So it's important that whatever we do is underpinned by that mission of ours. As fairly indicated, we are ushering ourselves into a digitally enabled era. So in order to really arrive at Industry 4.0, we need to take everybody with us, including those from the Federation. So this is really our contribution towards digital transformation and leveraging on technology, especially in this COVID era, where physical interaction has been reduced. And we're having a conversation with the Federation that this is just the beginning of a relationship, and we'd see this more as a partnership other than your typical donation-receiver relationship.
A representative from the Ministry of Gender Equality and Child Welfare at the event noted that although registered as a non-profit organization, it's important that the Federal
Act temporary measures to be implemented at its various properties or sites are basic salary reductions of between 25 to 50% effective from the 1st of August 2021 to the 30th of October 2021. Chabe Water Villas and Mokuti Itasha Lodge will be closed temporarily until the 1st of October, when it will be reopened. Strand Hotel Swakopmund will remain open for business with reduced operations, and its farmhouse deli will remain in operation for in-house guests and takeaway. Midgard Country Estate will remain open for business and at full operation, with ongoing training and construction for official opening towards the end of September. The O&L Leisure Central Office will also reduce working hours between 25% and 50% depending on work requirements, and remuneration adjusted accordingly. And Ndaponikwa Investments announced the international premiere of Hyderab, which has been chosen as an official selection for this year's Durban International Film Festival 2021. The film has already garnered a number of accolades, including Best Narrative Film, Best Director, and the Best Male Actor Award for the late veteran actor David Njavera at the Namibian Theatre and Film Awards. The international premiere of Hyderab enables international audiences to experience the best that Namibian cinema has to offer, and is a further opportunity to celebrate the great legacy of one of Namibia's most talented and prolific performers, with the recently departed Mr. David Njavera playing the lead character in one of his last feature film appearances. The Durban International Film Festival is one of 5 festivals presented by the Centre for Creative Arts at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and fulfills a facilitator function as a promoter of the film industry, creating networking and cultural exchange platforms. The program is a global showcase that centers on films from the continent, those made by Africans in the diaspora and of African descent.
Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Enjoy these fantastic payday savings at Clicks until 9 August. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper, 18 rolls, $89.99 per pack. Buy Pampers New Baby or Baby Dry Disposable Nappies Jumbo Pack. 2 for $219.99 per pack or 1 for $241.99. Buy Protex Soap 200 grams. 3 for $36. Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
We're now crossing over to Joseph Shifeni for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. The annual Ongwediva Trade Fair was cancelled for the second consecutive year. The event is one of the largest trade exhibitions in the country, attracting thousands of visitors to the northern town and bringing in much needed investment for the region. I spoke to the spokesperson of the Ongwediva Town Council, who said the organizers of the annual event are considering taking a virtual approach. The annual event was initially scheduled for the last week of August this year, but was cancelled with the Ongwediva Trade Fair Society citing health and safety concerns for the visitors, employees and exhibitors. The corporate communications manager at the town council, Jackson Muma, spoke to Business on One, noting that organizers are exploring the possibility of going virtual.
Obviously, we are going to invest in virtual platforms, and if the situation allows and it to be deemed fit for us to have trade fair on the ground, that will also still be announced to the public, so that at least we can have this hybrid trade fairs. But all in all, what we have at hand, and we are looking at possibilities of hosting, is a virtual trade fair, although the date has not been set as yet. All shall still be done in consultation with our various stakeholders, because we know that Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair is one of the platforms that brings business personalities together, and it also enhance network and also enhance local economy, not only in Ongwediva but across towns and villages in Namibia and outside. We are looking at least ways and means of hosting it safely and responsibly.
The preparatory committee had organized a fundraising gala dinner that was also cancelled due to the restrictions on gatherings. Moma remains hopeful that the situation will improve as they commence preparations for the 2022 fair that he said will be bigger and better.
Since we started with the preparations and application have been received on various categories or various sectors, there hasn't been payment made. And as we still want to inform our exhibitors, our prospective exhibitors, that the preparatory committee looks forward for 2022 Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair, obviously depending on the situation, and we will still announce on how we will move forward, the modalities to be used. As for now, the Trade Fair Preparatory Committee wishes to join government in the fight against COVID-19 and wished also to plead to the public to take care.
The trade fair is not the only exhibition event to be called off, as organizers of festivals and expos in most towns have cancelled to avoid large gatherings, which are discouraged by the government due to the novel coronavirus. The OETF urged Namibians to adhere to the regulations set in place to combat the pandemic. And that is all we have for you. Join us again next time for another edition of Business on One.
Namibia is bleeding. Women and children no longer feel safe in the land of their birth. This is not due to war, but due to gender-based violence perpetrated by mostly men. This call is to our fathers, brothers and sons to unite against gender-based violence. Let us come together and say a big no to gender-based violence. Together, we can build a safer and better society for all. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. MTC has announced a sponsorship of $2 million Namibia each for the athletes Christine Mboma and Beatrice Masilingi for the next 3 years. Houses worth $300,000 Namibia will also be built for both Mboma and Masilingi. Nafi noted that it is a great gesture, adding that if the Westerners don't want to recognize them, they will be at home. Nicholas says the coach deserves something too, as without him, their dreams would not have been possible. Nyambose says MTC should keep up with their social responsibility. Ndeshi Pewa says it's a great inspiration. Conrad Dino says corporate responsibility, whether big or small, is appreciated. While Renate noted that this is the kind of news she wants to hear. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Time now for today's sports update with Castro Ulumbu.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm your host Castro Ulumbu. Telecommunications giant MTC today announced a sponsorship of $2 million Namibia each towards Namibia's teenage athletes Christine Mboma and Beatrice Masilingi for the next 3 years. Mboma and Masilingi will represent Namibia at this year's Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Today on One Sports Desk has more on this story. Earlier today, telecommunications giant MTC continued their 25-year support towards sports in the country when Chief Human Capital and Corporate Affairs Officer Tim Mekanjo announced a total of $4 million Namibia sponsorship towards the two teenage sprinter girls as they prepare to fly out to Tokyo.
So this is how the amount is broken down. We structured the deal in such a way that it takes care of their personal expenses, it takes care of the humanitarian needs, it takes care of preparation, and it takes care of the fact that they just want to sometimes go to the shop and buy a sweep. So the first part of the deal is that we are going to build each of these girls in their home village to the tune of 300,000 Namibians. The second part of the deal is we know that preparation towards these events are very, very expensive. Not just for the Tokyo Olympics. They're not just going to the Tokyo Olympics. After this, there's going to be a lot of international competitions. So what we want to do is 250,000 for preparation expenses for each of them over the next 3 years, so that they can just prepare and prepare and prepare. And I think the one thing that we take for granted is preparation. But then we also want them to go to growth mode and just relax. So for each of the girls, they're going to receive $100,000 Namibian per year for personal expenses. You know, when you're at the Tokyo Olympics and somebody calls you, you need to look very cool. But you also have to be very connected. You want to roam as if you are at home. So thanks to our commercial department, both girls are going to receive top of the range iPhone 12s, $3,000 Namibian airtime on a monthly basis for the next 3 years. The last part of the deal is within the next 3 years we're going to have a local athletics event to the tune of 1 million, honoring both of them because they are becoming role models and we want to inspire so many other athletes in Namibia to come and participate at that event so that they can also reach for the stars. Because you know our brand is about connecting people to their dreams and aspirations, and that's what we're going to do. So a 3-year sponsorship deal at the tune of $2 million for each of you, and we are so excited and wishing you well for the Tokyo Olympics.
Giving the keynote address at the sponsorship announcement, Emma Kantema Gaumas expressed her gratitude towards MTC as she reflected back on the journey for the girls, describing it as a beautiful story.
The business of sport today, we know, demands a paradigm shift because gone are the days when, athletics was just run on the field and at the school level, but it's rather a viable economic output and it should be treated as such. As a ministry, we continue to devise strategies to ensure that we advocate for sport as an industry that can empower the youth. And to you, MTC, again, it may look like just a sponsor. It may look like you have just sponsored $4 million in total for the athletes, but to us as government, to us as a nation, you have indeed empowered the youth. Your sponsorship will be giving the 2 athletes, including the others that has benefited before, a livelihood. You have indeed uplifted their socio-economic status, which gives us such a pleasure. As we always say, sports can contribute to the economy and sport can also be an employment opportunity. This should serve as an inspiration to all the other athletes.
Christine Boma and Beatrice Masilingi will fly to Tokyo, Japan tomorrow as they will compete in the 200-meter track race event on the 2nd of July. And that is all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Isai.
Thank you, Castro, for the latest in sports. Now let's have a look at the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. East wind conditions with sandstorms at times are expected over the coastal areas going into the weekend. Please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior cold at first in the interior, otherwise sunny and mild to warm. A fresh to strong northeasterly wind is expected in the interior. The coast sunny and warm to hot with sandstorms at times, and the wind fresh to strong northeasterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
We have come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. Catch a repeat tonight at 9:30 and the omnibus on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them order, so it's a free business.
I don't know, cut it off.
I think two of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old, they were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future. My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies. Because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest changes, I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Tweefontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities and wildlife, is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palambach, and Palambach is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife, and it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, say the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poaching. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's our chance to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2 Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar, using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I phoned Mark Daw. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but when we've got the fund already ready for you, you just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to our people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs, and we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO, and IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, integrated rural development and nature conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities, and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2 Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's walking on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Etindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand Refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution, and at Ballowwood we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once in a lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcases really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward, and who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have, it's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.